Everybody, I'm going to share this really quick, guys. So how is everybody? Comment in the comment. How you been doing? I got a little teeny tiny thing to talk to you guys about the whole fate of this world. Or not, about how some people are taking this virus a little too seriously, and then others aren't taking it serious at all. Yeah. Here's my rant. It's not really a rant. It's the fate of the world. Like, the future of this world. Like, people, like, we're never going to have peace because there's always too much religion involved in everything. And people have too much religious differences. You know, in the future, if we could get rid of religion, that would be great because it just makes people fight. We have that. So that's bad. Then we have people that think that they're above everybody else and don't just do what everybody does. It's not being cheap, it's doing your civil duty. Like when in public and you're in a store that has a policy that on their door that says you have to wear a mask, just wear it. And if an employee asks you to wear it, just if you don't put one on, an employee has asked you to because that's their job to do it, because that's their company policy, then just do it. Or don't go to that store. Plain and simple. It's simple. You don't have to be mean and jump down that employee's throat. It's not their fault that that's the policy and that's the fate of the world. It's not any of our faults that that's the fate of this world, but we don't need to be mean. Let's be positive. Let's take a positive out of this, that we're all true in our duty to try to protect one another. I want to thank you if you're a person that goes into a store and wears a mask and protects everybody else around you. Don't go out and you don't need to go out the end of in the parking lot and start ranting and raving and telling people that are wearing a mask that they don't have to wear one and start causing drama with them. Leave them alone. If you don't want to wear a mask, then just don't go to that store. Go somewhere else and leave that person alone. No need to start a fight. Let's keep everything positive. You know, Trump has been known to make them downplay, make it where the news can't tell you certain things that the CDC says. So we're not completely informed, and the CDC does know. Trump's not a scientist, so I don't go by what Trump says. If you're not a scientist, I'm not going to go by what you say because you don't know. If they made it mandatory where we had to get that shot, that vaccine for coronavirus in order to work, then just do it. Plain and simple. You know, it's it's not that hard. Don't make things harder than it could be on yourself. All you're doing is making it harder on the people around you that have to deal with your negativity. I want to see the positivity out of this. We can make this 2020 thing a positive learning experience. We've never had something like this in our lifetime. It's something new. Some people never had it in their lifetime because they were born after the Spanish influenza and died before this pandemic. So And you didn't watch people die of this, and it's not a hoax. You gotta start taking this thing more seriously. We can't be joking around. There's somebody that used to, my cousin's old neighbor that's now my aunt's old neighbor because she bought the house after he moved out. My cousin was renting it to him, so his mom bought it after. Her neighbor's really sick with it. It's not a joke. Hi. I don't want to see people die of this virus, but if you guys, we all do our little civil duty. The world is a lot different nowadays, but we can't let that get to us. Hi, Vince. How are you? Let's take the future of this world and try to make it a better place. No more violence. No more going out and just getting all riled up and violent because of some one violent act. That's not that's not making the situation any better. If you can't have a peaceful protest, then don't protest at all. There's no need to get all violent about it. It's not cool. That's not making the world better. Just because one person has a bad action doesn't mean 100 of you or 1,000 of you need to have another more bad actions. That's not going to help. What happened to George Floyd and oh God, I can't remember that girl's name. God. What happened to that girl? I can't remember her name. Hold on a second. Breonna Taylor. So let's not let what happened to those two people create violence. Let's stay nonviolent in memory of them and respect for them. Breonna Taylor was completely innocent, but George Floyd had a criminal past. There's a couple of I don't think a cop should be allowed to even fire one shot. One shot without probable cause. And I don't think cops should just be able to just barge into your house either. They should announce themselves and have a warrant and be able to, and have to show the warrant first. And they shouldn't be allowed to just get out their guns. And they should not be allowed to go during the night, middle of the night, either. That's not cool. And they should have probable cause within a certain amount of time to get a warrant for something stupid. Cops get way too much control and they abuse their control and they cause a lot of stuff to happen that should not happen. But if a cop shoots somebody who's harming another person and they can't stop them from doing it, or two, they're harming another police officer or themselves or that police officer, and that's the only way to stop them, then that's okay. Because if they don't, they could go out and hurt somebody else. Stopping somebody, if that's the only way to stop them. But if they're not having to stop them and use brute force like that, whatever George Floyd did to get arrested, he could have avoided that whole thing by leaving the scene of the crime. He stayed there. He stayed there and got caught, according to witnesses and stuff. That's what I've heard is the news story that came out. Criminals do things, and if a cop's just protecting the citizens around them, but because of bad cops that kill people, I don't think they should be allowed to just kill people. We don't need to kill the people, just throw them in jail. Just put handcuffs on them and throw them in jail. What happened that got them to put him on the ground? What happened before they started videotaping? I think if somebody's caught illegally videotaping the scene of a crime and the cops arresting them, I think it should be illegal to film the cops if you're not a cop cam. Because the simple fact that they could falsely because they could film only what they want you to see. And that's not necessarily what might have happened and how it was perceived. He might have finally stopped struggling. Somebody might stop struggling after they're in a condition where they can't move. And you can't, it's like watching the show Cops. You can't, you don't know. And only part of it was filmed, so only part of it is known. So cops might have been unjustly fired, or maybe not. Maybe they needed to be fired. If somebody was going around being brute force with people just because he could, then he needed to be fired, because you can't just do that. You have to give people time to stop and let you arrest them. And they have to give you they have to read you your rights too if they're going to arrest you. Cops need to not abuse their power, but not don't take it too far, guys, to where the cops can't assert their power when they need to in a situation that's going to protect people around them, because we don't want that. Because then if a cop comes and they won't be able to protect you like they should, for fear of losing their job. And we do want cops, because if there's no cops, then there's no one to protect you when needed. And that's the future of this world. We need that. But in another way, we can't live with no laws. These laws that they set are to protect us, citizens. Without them, people can do what they want. Okay, if we took away all government and all police and everything, we'd be in trouble, because you couldn't even have a home. They wanted to kick you out, they could just kick you out and say get out, and there'd be no law saying they can't if they want. If somebody decided that there would be no law saying that there'd be no law to say they had to pay you a certain amount, so you could get paid $1 or they could pay you nothing. And there'd be no laws because we took away our government. There'd be no laws saying they had to pay you. So they could work and then they could just say that we're not going to pay you at all. And you could walk into any store and steal, and that store could not make no money because there'd be nobody to stop you. They couldn't ban you from a store because there's no law saying they have to. So they'd have to let you back in because there's no law saying you can't come back in their store. And you could just go up to the gas pump and steal gas. We wouldn't have any money because money would be irrelevant because we wouldn't be able to have enough of it because there would be no government to print our money. There would be no taxes. So our kids wouldn't be able to go to school. They could hire there would be no laws to say they have to hire a qualified person. They could just hire whoever they want. You have to have laws for certain reasons to protect people, and the government is there for our protection. There's a lot of really freaking good things that the government has done, and we don't want to not have a government. We don't want to have complete anarchy. It would not work. Okay, a prime example is the prime example of why we do not want no government in our and no police is because is the Simpsons episode where they convince the whole town to have no laws and no police and no nothing like that. That episode of this Family Guy proved that it's needed. People will go crazy, and banks could take your house away from you, and there'd be no laws to keep them from charging you more interest on your loans and raising your interest. And there's a lot of things. No lawyers. There'd be no lawyers because they wouldn't be needed because you couldn't sue because you couldn't go to court and sue. If one of your family members gets murdered, there'd be no way to get justice for it at all. That's why it's needed, and I respect the government to a certain T. But there's certain government things that certain people do that just they don't think about the whole world as a whole. And then there's some that just are good. They're crooked, and we want our Social Security in the future. So we want to keep paying our Social Security tax because it benefits everybody that makes under a certain amount of that doesn't make a super lot of money. It really helps them, and it helps our country. That's why other countries have stricter laws for certain things than we do. We've got a lot of freedoms. We're not free. You'll never be completely free because you can't be completely free. If we were completely free, you can't be completely free to do what you want because you can't trust people to completely make the right decisions and make proper decisions. That's why we have parents that show us our way when we're children, and they don't always teach us right from wrong. Some of us don't have nobody to show us right from wrong. So we gotta think about our actions and try to be as courteous to other people as we can because there's no need to be rude. Being rude and mean to somebody just because you don't don't particularly like them that much. You know, I might not particularly care for I might not particularly like a person too, but I don't ever hate somebody. No matter what somebody's done to me, I will never hate somebody because I don't have that kind of hate in my heart. I'm a forgiving person. I have forgiveness in my heart because everybody changes and has the ability to change their bad ways. They just have to do it. That might be my liberal, kind Irish heart, but I think that's the way people should be. They should be more forgiveness and stop judging people because they don't believe exactly the way you do. Don't go on someone's Facebook and because they write their beliefs on there, drag them down and treat them like garbage because of it, because it's not really right. I've never once went on there and said that you were completely an idiot and completely stupid, but you gotta listen to all the news and all the facts. Don't go by just one set of facts. Watch the news. You know, news is news. And if they're reporting on the news, they have to report. They can't report a bunch of fake news. Because if they did, they would have to get shut down. That's just the law. They get fact check. They have to fact check everything and make sure that on the news, like the local news and the nightly news, they have to report the truth, and they do. The only one that doesn't is Fox News, because Fox News channel has been known to spread lies and propaganda for their own agenda. We have to start caring about each other's. Okay, so if you don't believe in wearing a mask, please don't go up to people. You don't know who you're going up to. You know, if they have a family member that's sick, that they can't catch coronavirus because they're around that family member a lot because they have to have them watch their kids, and somebody who has a kid with them, don't go up to them shaming them for wearing a mask. Because if they're wearing a mask because they need to protect themselves and their families, and they can't catch that virus because they can't give it to certain family members that they're around all the time because that would kill kill them, and they don't want them to die, get sick like that, and and have this respiratory disease, that the illness that could really kill them, because they want to see them live as long as they possibly can, or at least live to see their grandkids graduate from high school. Because my best friend's brother got shamed for wearing a mask and got basically bullied leaving a store. And then my best friend, a week or so before that, got had to tell somebody to move along and make brute force and get all angry. Joshua Danger had to get all upset with a person in front of them when he was done with his doctor's appointment. This was almost 2 weeks ago. Because they were in the store just reaming the employee out for telling him that he can't be in the store without a mask. Walmart's policy is wear a mask. There's no exception in that store. So if you go into Walmart, make sure you wear a mask because that's their policy and it's not going to change. And they won't let you in there without it. So just wear it. Don't get all mad, and don't go up to people with that. If you're not going to wear a mask, then make sure you stay 6 feet away from people so that you're not invading their space. And don't go up to somebody. You don't know if you could be carrying that. You could get, there's very there's a select few people that get the coronavirus that don't get symptoms. And those people only get like a slight cold from it. So for you to go and get too close to people, not knowing that you could possibly have, there's undiagnosed, confirmed cases of it. So please don't think, oh, I don't have it. I don't think I have it, and I probably don't, because I don't get sick very often. I only get like my allergies is what makes me sick, but that's just allergies, and that's just the weather change and stuff. I get a cold from that weather change. So don't go up to people, because somebody went up to my uncle and got really close to him, and he didn't wear a mask, and he got mad and irate and told him off. And he don't tell people off because he had chemo, and you don't know if they've had chemo and can't catch that virus, because it will kill people like that. So please be respectful. Obey the laws. Just obey the laws, and don't do anything that makes the cops want to have to arrest you or do anything to you. And be kind to each other. Please, let's all be kind to each other. And let's try to make this world better for 2021. When we go into 2021, let's go into it with a positive attitude instead of getting all mad. Once this election's over, whoever wins, accept it. I'm going to accept it if Trump wins. I might not like it, but I'm going to accept it. But I have a feeling that Trump might lose. And if Trump does lose, there's always a possibility that Trump could lose. There could be enough people that are sick of the bullcrap that he's done and the lying to us about this virus, about the seriousness of stuff that is more serious than he's downplaying, because it affects him making money. People like him making money. And his rich billionaire friends are not making money, so they're leaning on him to do things that might not be necessary, that might be wrong, because they want to make more money. And what's more important, money or people's health or people's well-being necessarily? Making more money for a few months. We don't need to raise prices anywhere in this country because of the pandemic. We don't need to raise, we need to be like, our governor was doing what she thought was best for our state, the state of Michigan, to protect us citizens. Because if she didn't, I respect her for that, and I like her for that. She made sure that she kept things closed down, and made us wear masks so that we protected ourselves, because you don't want to get a virus that you can't come back from. You don't know how you're going to react to this virus if you get it. And if you get it, basically, if you get that virus, if you get the coronavirus and it's really bad, you might not make it through it. I know of 25-year-olds, I know of 16-year-olds, I know of pro athletes dying from it. It's more serious than people. It's more serious, and it is true, and it's not a hoax. Those who think it's a hoax are believing the bullcrap that your president fed you. The bullcrap your president fed you is not the same thing that the CDC said. The CDC tells you the truth, but Trump don't want that truth out because it hurts him and his campaign. He didn't have to give us that extra money. He didn't have to give us extra money for unemployment and pay our unemployment, right, and not make our workplaces pay our unemployment. There's a lot of things that he didn't have to do. He could have just gave us full unemployment and made unemployment pay our full pay, and just take away the 30%. He didn't have to give us that extra money, and he don't have to do it again. Seriously, he doesn't have to do it again. So if he don't do it again, and give us another stimulus, we don't need it. If you're working, you don't need it. And for two, if we don't pay, if we're gonna have to pay that Social Security back later if they defer it for 3 or 4 months. So you don't want that either. And I don't think he should be allowed to do that without us voting on it, because I would vote no. I want to pay it. I would vote to pay it. Yes, to pay it, because no, I don't want to not pay it, because if I don't pay it, then I have to pay it later out of my taxes. And if my taxes, I won't get any taxes back, because they're going to have to take my Social Security tax out of my federal tax, and that will leave you with nothing, because that's money that you don't get back. You don't get any of that Social Security tax back. The reason they created the Social Security tax is because there's some people that will never work enough and be able to take enough money from working to be able to have that Social Security, to be able to retire when they're old enough. Because, and I'm going to explain to you this. This is logic. I'm using the logic in my brain. Not everybody can work and make enough money to save for their retirement. There's people that are struggling to even pay their bills from month to month. They only have a little bit of money left after it. So if they was to save that little bit of money, they would never, and they had a bill come up that they'd have to dip into that savings. There's a lot of people that would struggle from day to day, barely having enough to pay their bills because they got a family to support, and something comes up and they need that money. They would dip into that money because it's not taken from them and they have no choice. And that money would end up going into, they would have to take that money out and use it for something that came up, so they wouldn't have that money because they would spend it. Most people would just spend it. Put it honestly. If they got that money back, most of you would just blow it anyway. So we might as well get it taken so we can get money when we're retired, because it will help us. People that get a 401k and savings, that's just to help you live a little bit more comfortably after you get your Social Security and you're old. Now, that's why we want that, because without that, we wouldn't have enough to live. Like, that would help us live a little bit more comfortably if we saved a bunch of money for retirement. But my dad has his pension. His pension, not everybody has a pension, and a 401k is not a very good savings plan. It's not going to completely support you when you need to retire. You need that Social Security. You paid into it. You deserve to have that, and you want it. And I want it too. So we don't want that to go away. We want to do whatever we can to get that. I think that's a great thing. And you get it based on your 5 best years of working, and it's great. It's a great thing for people to have. And I want it to be there for everybody. because we all need it. I think these rich people don't think we need it. The real rich Republican people don't think we need it because they're real rich and they ain't gonna need it. They ain't gonna get it anyways because they didn't need it because they made way more money than they'll ever be able to spend in their whole life, so they can retire completely comfortably and not have to worry about it. But there's people like me and my parents and people like that need it are going to need it because they're never going to make enough to save enough money. And if you took it away tomorrow, then people like me and the people that are a little bit older that are older than haven't retired yet are never going to be able to save enough money because they didn't start when they were really you can't a lot of people don't start when they're really young because they're not ready to. They don't make enough. They're stupid and they spend their money and they're just trying to have fun, or they just don't make it. There's people that just didn't make enough when they're fairly young to save money. There's some people that are living on their own and have to support themselves at a young age. They can't afford to start saving for retirement. And what if your place of business that you're working for decides that they're done with the business and they close the doors and you lose your job? There's times like that where people have to dig into their savings. Then you'd have to dig into your savings. There's times like that happens to people. They have to dig into their savings, and that Social Security will still be there when they're retired. But if you take it away, they don't have no way to retire. And if they don't have no way to retire, that doesn't free up their job when they're done working and retired, because they got to keep work. They'll have to keep working and won't be able to retire. So then that means that they have to keep working and not free up a job for someone else who's younger, who's more capable and not tired. My dad could not work on that. He gets tired. He takes a lot of breaks and naps and stuff now because he's getting older and he's 70 years old. That's what happens when you're 70 years old. You get tired quicker. You can't work as good as you used to. And you don't have the stamina you used to because you're old and it's worn out of you. We want those people to be able to retire. They deserve to retire. They worked hard their whole life. But if we take away Social Security, they won't be able to, or they'll have to move into cheaper places and lose their nice homes that they worked for their whole life. People shouldn't lose that kind of stuff because when they go to retire, if they don't even have their Social Security, and if my parents only had to live on my dad's Social Security, they would have to get junky cars. They wouldn't be able to have a decent car that would get them from point A to point B. They'd have a car that they wouldn't be able to rely on. And then two, they probably would only be able to have one vehicle for my mom and dad. And there's a lot of people that don't have that pension. They only have a 401k that's less money. And for two, without the Social Security that my mom and dad get, they would probably have to go live in an apartment that's small, like a 1-bedroom apartment like me, and both live in it. They wouldn't have any extra spending money, and they wouldn't be able to get food stamps because if we don't have Social Security, we're probably not going to have food stamps or medical care. So a lot of people would lose their medical care because without that, we'd probably all lose our medical care too. So we want that. So that's our God-given right, as that's what we pay our taxes, and it helps people. And I want to see that. I want to see everybody keep that. I want to see everybody be able to retire when they're old enough, and I want to see everybody be able to live and not have to be homeless. And just be thankful you have a. Let's not worry about what you don't have and what you can't have because you can't afford it. Let's worry about what we do have and keep protecting it and paying our bills so we can have using our money to at least pay our bills. So we have what we need. As long as you have a home to go to in a safe, nice neighborhood, food in your belly, and a warm bed to go to, and a job to go to every day that helps you pay your bills, then you're good. And you have family that loves you. Let's not focus on what you don't have. Let's focus on the positives of what you do have. And as long as you guys have that, you have a good life and a good home. And I thank you guys. That's stuff that we need. And if you have to live alone, don't let people ruin what you've worked hard for. If you have to get rid of people out of your life that are gonna make that go away, or wanting you to do something that's not gonna keep your nice home. Hate is baggage. Let's not hate. Let's find the positive in it. Live your best life. And keep smiling. There's always something positive going on in your life. Do you have a family that loves you? Do you have a job you can go to every day? Do you have food? Do you have a warm bed to go to? Do you have shelter to keep you warm? That's all you need in this world. So, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next live stream. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and have a wonderful weekend. Hit that subscribe button and become a member of the Dead Fam, and hit that bell so you get notified every time we upload, and hit that thumbs up if you like this type of video, or you like the idea or give this video a thumbs up if you like the idea that we should always look at find every day, find 5 positive things about your life. 5 positive things. Let's do that from now. Let's do that. Here's my motto for the future. Let's find every day find 5 positive things we can think of for our life. Mine is, I have a home. I have food. I have a job. I have family that's healthy and I love them. And I have friends who are freaking awesome. That's my 5 positives. What's yours? Comment below what your 5 positive things are, and I will see you guys in my next live video. Thanks for watching. Peace out and much love to everybody. Thanks for watching.